Suddenly I noticed my parents at the dinner table, looking like they'd lost their souls, madly stabbing their own faces with forks, unable to feel pain, their eyes numb, while my aunt sat beside them, not the least bit concerned, seeming instead to admire her own handiwork. Time rewinds to yesterday. A stranger arrived at our home, an aunt I'd never met before, claiming she felt unwell and wanted to stay with us for a while. The next day, driven by curiosity, I quietly opened my aunt's door. Through the crack, I spotted several wigs and a strange, thorny tree in a pot. My aunt lay in bed, staring at me with an eerie gaze. When school let out, I felt uneasy and anxious. My father had never been late to pick me up before, but today, unusually, he was late. Left with no choice, I walked home alone. The atmosphere at the dinner table felt deeply unsettling. My parents sat silently, while my aunt, who'd been bedridden just yesterday, suddenly radiated vitality and energy. An unease washed over me. I grabbed a glass of water from the table and threw it at my father, but he showed no reaction. In that instant, I understood everything before me was connected to my aunt. She had finally stopped pretending. I watched as she pulled a thorny branch from her pocket, forcefully piercing her own palm with it, then wrapped my parents' hair around it. All I could do was desperately beg her not to harm my parents. Over the next few days, I pretended nothing was wrong and continued going to school. After school, I'd return home and open cans to feed my parents, their eyes vacant. But that night, a scream erupted from my aunt's room. I rushed in to find her collapsed on the floor, unable to move. She looked utterly drained, pleading for my help. "Can you do me a favor?" "What?" "From your school. Bring me one personal item belonging to each of your classmates." For my parents' safety, I had no choice but to comply. During free period in PE class the next day, I slipped back into the classroom. I tore off the name tags from my classmates' belongings, carefully stuffing them all into my backpack. After school, I carried these items home. I handed the items to my aunt. She tore each name tag into tiny pieces and tossed them into a bowl of murky water. Exactly at 2:17, my classmates suddenly seemed summoned. Twisting and contorting, they all burst out the door together, dashing through the deserted streets toward my house.